Hey guys, okay, so I'm come up here because I want to make a quick video, and I want to discuss the article that you see before you. It says DNA suggests 10,000-year-old Brit had dark skin and blue eyes. And if you look at this picture here, you can see this is the recreation of the skull that was found in 1903. He is named Cheddar Man, for he was found in the Cheddar Gorge in the European mountains or caves. And clearly you can see he has dark skin and he has blue eyes. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point out in this article, and I will leave the description. I will leave the link to this in the description box below, or you can just Google it. It's fairly public knowledge now, so it shouldn't be hard to find. But it says here that the analysis says that it indicates that he had he had blue eyes, dark curly hair, and dark to black skin pigmentation. The hair they have here is not very curly to me. It looks like Barbie doll hair, but we shall proceed. Then it also says that the researchers say the evidence suggests that Europeans' pale skin tone developed much later than originally thought. It says here, it seems, that pale eyes entered Europe long before pale skin or blonde hair, which didn't come along until after the arrival of farming. And you keep on going down and down and down. I want to read something else to you guys. And it says here, he had a healthy diet. He died in his 20s, possibly through violence. These people here, Alphonse and Adri Kennis, created a likeness of Cheddar Man based on British scientists' findings showing a man with long curly hair, again curly hair, a short beard, and striking blue eyes. And once again, this is not very much curly hair. This is very shaggy hair, very stringy, still European style hair, but we will go with it. But another thing I want to point out is the fact that he has blue eyes, and it's not uncommon for melanated people or people of African ancestry to have light eyes. If you look at this, you can see these are a bunch of people who are dark brown, medium brown to a very darker complected brown skin tone, melanated people who have light eyes, particularly blue eyes or gray eyes or hazel eyes and whatnot. So it's not uncommon to have that. You don't have to have European ancestry in order to have that. Also, if you read the scripture, when it talks about King David being anointed, 1 Samuel 16:12, it reads in the KJV, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ready and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Most High said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Now, some translations actually translate this to him having bright eyes, like this here in the CJB version, whichever one that is. Others continuously say beautiful eyes, beautiful eyes, beautiful eyes. So you may be wondering, where is that coming from, since the KJV doesn't mention eyes at all? Well, they're getting it from the Hebrew word that was translated for countenance. And if you scroll down here, it is ayin. For those of us who study Hebrew or may have a little understanding of Hebrew, you will know that that is the translated word for eye, physical eye, and then some other translations here, but the eye. And then if you look here, Strong's also use the same word to translate, meaning color. So it's used 12 times throughout the KJV scriptures to translate into color. So in my opinion, it's very possible that King David himself could have had light colored eyes, whether that be chestnut, hazel, blue, gray, green, whatever. I think it's possible that he could have had light colored eyes to match his reddish brown skin. And we all know that he had no traces of modern day white European DNA in him in order to get that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the Grimaldi man, because he too was also found in the European area. And as you can see from images, he is very much a Negroid man. It says here, I think he was probably found in Ukraine or Russia, but this is him. Another image of him here shows Negroid features. Now, he has somewhat similar modern day European hair in this depiction. But nonetheless, I would not mistake him to be a so-called white man. He looks to definitely have some European DNA in him. Another thing that I want to show is here's another one, the Negroid of Grimaldi, a short race, perhaps ancestors of the modern Bushmen, which once inhabited the French Riviera. There's no mistaking that this is a Negroid, so-called African, black, whatever man. Now, we also know the story about Noah and his three sons. Ham inhabited the northern parts of Africa, so-called Africa. Shem was in the so-called Middle East area, which would be like Iraq and Iran and things of that nature. And then Japheth went up into what is now called European countries today, or Europe today. And I believe that this is a strong possibility that these are the ancestors of Japheth. But nonetheless, still Negroid in appearance and not the modern day white European that we would identify and associate today. Here's another one: the comb compel man, an ancestor of some European nations. Once again, very Negroid in appearance. There's no mistaking it. Even with the somewhat stringy straight hair, very Negroid in appearance. And here's another one. If you look at this one, this is a Grimaldi woman. Over here it says Negroid woman, medieval African, Negroid of Grimaldi. I think I have a bigger picture here. Once again, very Negroid in her hand. Now she's holding something interesting. Looks like it could be a shofar or something along the lines of that. So that would be interesting to research and study and learn more about what it is that she's holding. But nonetheless, this is a Negroid woman. And here is another one. The face of the first modern European. It says forensic scientist Richard Neve reconstructed the face based on skull fragments from 35,000 years ago, and he's much older than the man that we saw in the first article, Cheddar Man. This man here that you're looking at was found in the southwestern Carpathian Mountains of Romania in 2002-2003. Now he looks very much like the San people down in South Africa. Here's an image of them. Namibia. Now, a lot of my DNA, ancestry DNA, comes from these areas. Of course, I have West African ancestry, but when you do further breakdown, I realized that I had higher concentrations of DNA from the South African region, especially in Namibia, than I did in West Africa. I did have some West Africa, but I had more in Namibia and some in Zimbabwe DNA. Here's a blow up of this. Now, he looks very much like this man here. Very much so. Oh, excuse me. Very much so. I also believe that this is where we get the modern day Asians because they tend to have that, what we would call Asian look, but actually Asians have their look. And these people have the oldest DNA, said to have the oldest DNA on the earth, which I do believe they have. They do have that. And if that is absolutely true, my opinion and guess would be that this is probably some of what Adam might look like, the first man known as Adam. Now, the last thing I want to jump into, and let me put this disclaimer out too. That is just my opinion about this possibly being where Adam come from. Don't nobody take that and run with it. That's just my opinion. And the last thing I want to talk about is that, blacks being in Europe is nothing uncommon because we are known to rule Europe for centuries. The King James himself, who worked to translate the Bible, although there are discrepancies and errors here and there throughout those scriptures, he himself was a black man. You can do your own research on that. I don't want to put that in right now because I don't want to take up any more time. But this is one thing in particular I want to show, the Drake jewel. And this was between 1586 and 1588. This is, of course, found in Europe. And these people are said to be Moors, but nonetheless, black and very much black and Negroid or African in appearance. And as you can see, they are ruling. They have the black and ahead of the white. That is not a common image that you will see today, certainly not in America or Europe. But as you can see, we have roots in Europe. And it's no secret that we were there first and that we actually ruled for many years there. A lot of those dynasties that are so-called white, have been whitewashed to depict white people when they actually were black, as in King James himself, Princess Charlotte, even Anne Frank. I'm sorry, not Anne Frank, Lord. Anne of, oh gosh, escapes me now, but the Royal Anne, you all will know. Well, some of y'all will know that she actually was a Negroid black woman. Even Shakespeare was said to have, I read somewhere, was said to actually have been a Negroid woman that wrote under the alias of William Shakespeare. Now, you all can do your own research on these things. I'm not trying to tell anybody to change their opinions or beliefs or nothing. I'm just showing evidence that blacks were in Europe and very much so present, even as recent as the medieval time, just a few hundred years ago. So I wanted to get that video out pretty quickly. I am going to leave the link to this in the description box below. And I think I got everything out that I wanted to discuss. So anyway, I think that's it. And I'm going to say goodbye and I'll see you guys in the next video. And my time is running out now anyway. So that was perfect timing. All right. You all have a good one. Shalom. All right, hey guys. So I want to come up here and make another interjection about what I was speaking about earlier about blacks being in Britain, and I want to talk about what we have before us. So what you see here is a penny from Barbados, dated 1792. And for those who may not know, Barbados is a small country in the Caribbean that was under European British Parliament rule up until about 50 years ago or so. I believe they have their independence now for the last 50 years. And when you look at this, clearly you can see obviously a Negroid face over here, a African face over here. This is definitely a black person, not a white person. And then you think about the year that they're ruling. Many of us only think that Europe has white people, or the so-called white people, modern day white people, where they have the pale skin, the light colored eyes, or maybe brown eyes, or straight, the typical European look, straight hair and so forth. But as you can see, this is not a picture of a white person. And then you think about the year that they were ruling in 1792, and you start thinking back. During that time frame, you have this queen here that was ruling. Her name is Queen Sophie Charlotte. And actually, the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, is named after her and built around her. If you go to that city, you'll see different statues and so forth. Of her around the city, and you'll see references to her around the city. It's called, nicknamed the Queen City, QC, all that good stuff. So most of us will probably think that Charlotte looked like this, Queen Charlotte. But as you can see, this is definitely a whitewashed image of her, because she definitely looked more like this. Now, this also too is very much whitewashed in my opinion, because her years was 1761 through 1818. So she would have been ruling during the same time as this. So in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, this is supposed to be possibly a depiction of Queen Charlotte, or some type of royalty from the UK. Now it looks like it could be male. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like it could be a male here, but at the same time, it's it's definitely going to be UK, because, like I said, Barbados didn't have their independence at this time. They just got their independence within the last 50 years or so, and they were under British rule. So this is clearly denoting a black royal Brit in Europe at that time, at the UK, Britain, and so forth at that time. Now, this is the same time period that she was ruling. So this is either someone in her family or someone close to her, someone related to her. As you can see here, this website is also denoting it. And I think this website is also is pointing out, okay, were these pictures actually truly replications of the actual people? And like I said, and looking at this definitely looks more male to me. So I'm not going to say that this is supposed to be Queen Charlotte specifically. I'm not certain, because it looks like a male. But either way, they would have been in the same royal family or somehow related or something, because they both would have, they both would have been royals at that time frame, because they lived in the same time frame. But I also wanted to point out, some more images of Queen Charlotte. And this is a Charlotte, a city. I'm sorry, this is a statue of her in the city of Charlotte, as you can see. They have done a good deal of whitewashing even in that. But if you look close, even with her having pale skin, you can still very much see the very much Negroid features that she still would have. Very much so there as well. Even if she was albino, which I don't believe she was, but even if she was, you would still see the very much present Negroid African features. I can't make that out too much. I think this is supposed to be like a, I don't think that's her actually. It's somebody misquoted that. There was another picture I wanted to show. I'm going to find it because I know it's here. Here. This, it says here, a princess of Mecklenburg Strelitz, Queen Charlotte, from a painting by Etheridge over here, if you look over here. And let me see if I can blow this up and make it look bigger. Let's see here. You can clearly see this is a Negroid woman, even if she's light in complexion. Possible mixed ancestry, not sure 100% at this time, but either way, there's still black blood in this woman. She's still, this person still has black African ancestry, whether it be full or half. I'm not really sure what the dimensions would be, but still this person is of black African ancestry. And these are the people that were ruling. These are the royals, and there's plenty more of them that was ruling during that time frame. But a lot they have all been whitewashed, and we are just now. Well, I am just now coming to know that to realize that they have been whitewashed. There are people that knew this a long, long time ago. But anyway, I'm just coming into this recently. Well, I learned of Queen Charlotte a few years back, but more people like King James and things of that nature I'm coming into. Now look at this. This clearly denotes once again a Negroid woman. And then here you can see where the whitewashing took place of this very own exact image. It's just amazing to me, you know. The other thing I want to point out is I mentioned that Shakespeare is said to be that Shakespeare was a fictitious character and that he was actually written by a black woman under the alias of William Shakespeare, just because of the simple fact that, one, she was a woman, and two, she's black, or at least of black African ancestry at some point in her history. And the name of this woman is Amelia Bassano Lanier. Now, I haven't done a ton of research on this. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I have. I haven't, but I have come across this before. So I don't know. I mean, it's possible this could be a myth. I'm not really sure, but let's just take it and say that it wasn't a myth. It's still good to understand and know these things that are being said in about history. And if it comes across as being a myth, then it's a myth. But I still want to point it out because I think it's interesting. So this is the face we all know. We used to sing William Shakespeare. He is a creepy looking fella to me. I never really liked the way he looked at all. It just looked very crazy looking to me. But anyway, this is the woman that is said to have actually written Shakespeare. And there's a video out there that makes me personally believe that it is actually true because of the different markers that she would leave in the work and different references that she would leave in the work, like Othello, for one, being a black Moroccan African man. There's other little things that the scholars, this is the video I'm referencing here, that scholars have notated that they were able to put two and two together that suggests that this is actually a woman, one, writing this, and then two, not just a woman, but this black woman or this woman of African ancestry, whether it be black or full. Now, I'm not sure if she's been whitewashed or not, but if you look closely at her, I mean, you can definitely find some Negroid features. That's not the picture of her I wanted to show. That I don't even think that is her actually. But you can definitely still see some type of Negroid features. I'm not surprised if this actually has been whitewashed to some degree. Now this is interesting. I haven't seen this picture before. I wonder, is this the actual image? Okay, now they're saying this is the actual image of the woman that wrote. I haven't seen this image before. Now this would be hard to argue that she is not African. If this is the actual correct image. But again, like I said, I have never seen this image before. I've only seen this one here. But even still, you can still see that there could possibly be some whitewashing going on with this image itself. But wow. That's interesting. I have not seen this before. Let's see. It says Amelia Bassano is a lady who wrote all of Shakespeare's plays because she was black. They could not publish her work. She died in poverty because she never received a dime for her work. Shakespeare was illiterate and could barely write his name. I don't know about that. I haven't seen that before. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there and just give you guys something to think about. Again, like I said, I'm not here to change anyone's opinion or, push a whole bunch of different narratives out there. It's just interesting to know about things that are going on and, things that are said. But anyway, so I'm going to leave that there and I'll see you guys in the next video. Shalom.